I'm going to be showing you how to make Shahi Paneer, which literally translates as royal paneer. So if you're a queen or a king, or you have a little princess or prince in your life, this is the recipe for you because we're all going to feel like royalty. And this is an amazing dish of tender chunks of paneer in a creamy tomato sauce, and I know that you guys are going to love this one, just like you love my other recipes. But before we get started, don't forget to hit me up on my social media channels. You guys know how much I love that. And of course, if you're looking for the full recipe, just expand that info box down below and everything you need is there. Let's get started. So of course, we're gonna start with our base flavors for the curry. And just like any great Indian curry, there's some onions involved, and I'm gonna give them a rough chop. And don't worry about making these super fine or anything like that, because we're gonna blend them up anyways after. So what's the point of investing all this time into like chopping them up super finely, right? So go in for a nice rough chop. And the onions are gonna add a beautiful amount of sweetness to the curry. These are a touch strong. I'm kind of like on the verge of tears, but not quite. Now we have a little bit of ginger. And we're gonna use about an inch of ginger. And I know a lot of people tend to peel ginger, but why? Like, the skin is so tender and soft, so I don't bother with peeling it. And we're just gonna give that a rough chop as well. Up next, we have 2 Thai green chilies. And this curry isn't super duper spicy, it's just kind of mellowy spicy, which is really, really good. And we're gonna go in with 2 of those as well. Boom! All my veg has been chopped, and now we're gonna saute them off in a little bit of ghee until they're nice and kind of golden and soft, and all those great flavors come to the surface. Let's do it. I have a pot here that's on medium-high heat, and to that I'm gonna add ghee, G-H-E-E, a couple of tablespoons of that. I have an awesome recipe for that on my channel. And now let's talk spices, shall we? So I have 2 different types of cardamom here. So this might be the cardamom that you're familiar with, green cardamom, which has a beautiful floral aroma. And this big guy here is black cardamom, and this is smokier in flavor. So I'm gonna add both of those to the pan, as well as all of my base ingredients. So my onions, my ginger, and chilies. And we're gonna saute these guys up until they're nice and soft and fragrant and slightly golden. Come in, take a look, you guys. So it's been about, I would say 7 minutes. And as you can tell, my onions are nice and soft. They have little brown bits along the edges, and they just smell really, really sweet. So I have some tomatoes that I have chopped up, and it's almost equal amounts of tomato to onions because you want the acidity of the tomatoes and the sweetness of the onions to balance each other out. And these guys are gonna go in, and we're gonna cook these until the tomatoes soften and become nice and jammy in texture. So while my tomatoes and onions are bubbling away and making friends with one another, we're gonna talk about paneer. So paneer is a fresh Indian cheese, and the one that I'm using today is actually one that I bought from the grocery store. I will have a video up shortly though on how to make paneer because you guys have been requesting it forever. And it's just a very neutral tasting cheese. So it doesn't have any salt to it. It just tastes really creamy and springy. And for Shahi Paneer, I like to cut it up into big rectangular chunks, right? Because we're going all out, it's all royal, right? So I'm just gonna cut it down this way once, and then once again, and then we're gonna do big chunks. So, ooh, doesn't that look good? This excites me. There we go. Our paneer is ready to go. So let's check in on our tomatoes and onions. All right, take a look at my tomatoes. Remember how they were big and chunky to start off with? They've really cooked down, become soft, and now I'm gonna turn off my heat, and we're gonna let this cool down just a tad because I'm gonna blend these up until they're nice and smooth, and you don't want this hot, otherwise you risk your blender exploding, and no one wants that. All right, let's hang tight. My tomato mixture is nice and cool, and now we just have to blend it up. So I have a nice high-speed blender here. In it goes. And that is the signature texture for Shahi Paneer, that silky smooth soft, silky smooth sauce with the soft paneer. That's what I'm trying to say, people. Anyhow, turn this guy on and get him nice and smooth. Let's do it. Boom. It's smooth now. So just take a look on the inside. Oh, look at that color, bam. Look at that beautiful sort of blush orange color, nice and smooth. Now at this point, what you can do is you can put it through a sieve if you want to get it really luxuriously silken. But you know what, I'm gonna skip that step because I'm just cooking this for me and like, you know, I'm kind of low key like that. So we're gonna take this back to the stove and cook it off a little longer. So we're back to the same pot. I've added 2 more tablespoons of ghee, and now we're gonna go in with that pureed tomato mixture. You see it's starting to sputter. That's a good sign. And you want to cook this tomato mixture out along with a few spices. So for the spices, we're going to go in with some red chili powder, cayenne chili powder, which is a little different dimension of heat than we would get with the green chilies. Garam masala, which is that spice blend that's used so much in North Indian cooking. I have a recipe for that on my channel, as well as coriander powder and just a touch of sugar to balance out the acidity of the tomatoes. And those all go in. Ooh, look at how pretty. I love when those colors all swirl into one another. Anyhow, so we're gonna cook this until it becomes nice and thick and the oils begin to separate from the tomatoes on the side of the pan. Our blended mixture has really cooked down. See how it's sort of dancing along the pan as I pull my spoon through? That's a really, really good sign because that means the tomatoes and the onions, everything's lovely and caramelized and cooked through. And at this point, I'm just gonna add my heavy cream because this is a royal dish, so a touch of richness from the cream goes a long way. And we're just gonna swirl it through. Oh goodness, that looks so good. All right, and if you find that your curry is a little too thick, don't hesitate to add just a touch of water here and there to thin it out. And look at that color, stunning, isn't it? So we're just gonna let that come up to the simmer, and as we do that, I'm gonna add my paneer. So the chunks of paneer are gonna go in here. And for this recipe, I don't fry up the paneer in advance just because I want it to be very silky and delicate. And we're just gonna fold it through and let it cook for an additional 2 minutes just to heat the paneer through. Paneer, look at that, the creamy sauce. Get it, girl. And typically, I'm gonna go in for a little more sauce. And typically what we do is take a little extra cream because this is, oh yeah, it's an indulgent royal dish, so a little extra cream to put it over the top. Oh, beautiful. That paneer is so tender and soft, a little bit of the cream, a little bit of the sauce. Look at that, piping hot. One word for Shahi Paneer. Special. This is unreal. The paneer is delicate and creamy and tender, and then that sauce just has a little hum of heat, but it's beautiful because it's sweet from the onion, slightly sweet from the creaminess of the cream, and then that touch of tart from the tomatoes with all of those spices blended throughout. You guys are gonna love this one. Pair this with rotis, naan, chapatis, even over hot basmati rice, and this is a winner. Shahi Paneer. Who knew that it was so easy to make? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give me a big old thumbs up. You know how that makes me feel. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe for more videos. As always, if you're looking for something from me, just leave me a comment down below. Comments, suggestions, recommendations, whatever you need to get off your chest, leave it down below. And guess what? I'll see you in my next video. Until then, I'll see you later. Bye.